So back to the focus of today's summit. There are 3 areas on the plan which we really need to take forward together. And they're up there. So a unique and distinctive West Midlands that reaches across the world. Creativity at the heart of education and lifelong learning, and clear career pathways. We also want to look at infrastructure and mobility for culture. We have 3 brilliant speakers this morning who are leading regionally and nationally in the areas that we are exploring. They'll provide insights, inspiration and provocations for us to again, share and shape the shared collective actions that we will take forward. So I'm really looking forward to spending the day with you all once again to drive our collective action.
I'm really particularly delighted to be speaking 1 year on and having seen such amazing progress. I do a lot of speaking and I go to a lot of annual meetings, and they don't normally start by saying, look what we did last year and look what we're doing to deliver it. I'm the Chief Executive of the West Midlands Combined Authority, so you'll have to forgive me because I tend to have a little bit of an urban bias for the region that I represent, but I'm very acutely aware that we are talking about a much wider ecosystem here today. And the sector, especially in light of the Chancellor's recent speech, should be very important to note, delivers economic growth as well. In 2023, this region attracted 145 million visitors and supported almost 150,000 jobs. Culture was the primary reason for visiting this region for over 20% of the visitors. And cultural tourism generates significant economic impact, supporting 40,000 jobs and contributing 1.8 billion in GVA. Moreover, the West Midlands has the 3rd largest cultural sector in the UK, with over 10,000 creative enterprises generating over £4 billion of GVA. These are truly incredible figures, if they don't in some way sound so large that they're almost made up. But particularly when we consider the fact that this contribution relies on people who are freelancers, it relies on micro enterprises, where the economic reality is really fragile and unpredictable for a lot of people in this sector, but where collectively a lot of our region's cultural innovation resides. We've spent the last 9 months working really closely with our constituent local authorities, mapping our shared agendas, forging plans for better partnership working in the future. And alongside this work, by the summer, we will produce that economic growth plan for our region, which, as I have already mentioned, has creative and digital at its heart, where it is celebrated and centered. And more specifically for colleagues here today, in the next few months, we will publish our first ever Culture and Creative Industries Framework. And that framework takes as its focus something called the Cultural and Creative Dividend, and essentially the mapping of the multifaceted benefits that investment in creativity can bring to a region. But if we focus on the lens of transport, for instance, one of the topics of your day ahead, the challenges are clear. Affordable, integrated transport is essential for cultural access and participation. And moreover, although we host several creative clusters and higher education institutions, connectivity across our clusters and education institutions remains limited, and that prevents the region from reaching critical mass and diverse offer that other parts of the UK have. And that connectivity challenge is compounded by a lack of commercial culture infrastructure to support production and innovation. So a high proportion of our cultural employment in the West Midlands is focused around urban areas, with concentrations of employment in Birmingham and Coventry city centres. For cultural workers and audiences based outside of these clusters, access and mobility are persistent barriers. And for our part, we will continue to develop our role as a convener and a catalyst for investment from government and other arm's-length organisations. We will continue to support the government's industrial strategy and their strategic agendas, and continue to drive inclusive growth and productivity for our citizens. And all that said, we understand that we cannot grow this ecosystem if we work in silos. Therefore, we have to align our efforts and ensure the region moves in the same direction.
I know that today is a forward-looking, action-orientated session to explore opportunities. But I wanted to start by acknowledging where we are right now, how tough it feels. We know that the environment is really hard at the moment. Every organisation, whatever its size or scale, is feeling the challenge. And our freelance creatives are particularly at the sharp end. Increased costs, unpredictable audience behaviour, and ever increasingly polarised public dialogue, which, as in the summer, has the potential to explode into racist and Islamophobic violence. It can feel overwhelming and at times frightening. Even more reason, I would say, to find strength from one another and to ensure that we unite and don't fracture. It feels ever more critical to demonstrate the importance of culture at the heart of our communities, because through culture we can come together, explore difficult and complex issues, and sit with that discomfort, as well as working together to find collective solutions. Now, at the Arts Council, we are also trying to navigate these turbulent times. Like you, we're contemplating and attempting to plan in a world that the leadership theories of Bennis and Nanus defined as VUCA, ones of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. We're currently making an ambitious case for increased investment in culture for the next spending review. It certainly is a complex landscape out there. But in this VUCA world, there are also huge opportunities. But as I'll continue to say over and over, these opportunities, as with the challenges, are best grasped through united action. Now, I'm the Executive Board Lead at Arts Council and have been since its inception for the Creative People and Places programme. I've learnt so much from the programmes and people leading and participating in the work. But my overriding takeaway has been the critical importance of the programme's rejection of a deficit model. We don't talk about cold spots of left-behind communities of sink estates. Instead, we celebrate and build on the assets that every community has. Lisa Nandy, our Secretary of State, said that she was having conversations with two distinct groups of people. The first, she said, come to her with a long list of problems, asking her to fix them. The second also acknowledged the problems and challenges they were facing, but came with some potential solutions that they wanted her to help them deliver. She asked us to guess who was grabbing her attention and who she felt enthused to work with. I'd ask, therefore, that today, when you look to the three areas of action, you consider what are the potential solutions, the ways in which, by working together, we really are more than the sum of our parts. Now, as the white paper outlines, soon the rest of the country will have these strategic authorities in place, and that gives us a huge opportunity to place culture at the heart of successful economic and community growth. But we really do need to find a way to have a united voice in this space. We are a sector of micro businesses. The leaders and teams working in these combined authorities have lots of very large organisations with incredibly well-organised industrial sectors clamouring for their attention. We need to have a clear offer that delivers clear outcomes for their growth and strategic plans. Today, I'd ask you to think how that can be best achieved. How can you have a single voice that is able to articulate a clear ask that benefits the development of the wider ecology? So in the Midlands, we have a great deal to be proud of, and also the opportunity to grow. So as you begin to plan for the three actions around looking at a unique and distinctive West Midlands, creativity at the heart of education and lifelong learning, and infrastructure and mobility for culture, I ask that you work together and with us and take energy from the words of Toby Campion. We scrub up nice when we need to. We're diamond. We're the strength that stops you folding at the middle and the beauty that makes this crown shine. We are the Midlands. Remember us.
But I'm sure you're aware the West Midlands is unique in the UK. We have the youngest population in Europe, with 32.2% of people being under 25, compared to 29.8% nationally. A highly diverse population in terms of ethnicities, and we are linked as a region geographically being due to our central location. And all these things combine to make us unique and very different culturally to other parts of the UK. And it's a brave and wise decision to think strategically about how we develop the West Midlands. So I talked about this being a problem not just for those who are disadvantaged, but it does, creativity and culture do help those who are disadvantaged and from underprivileged backgrounds. They don't have the same access to creative opportunities. And the gap, just like with my netball team, it isn't just about resources, but it's about the culture around creative learning. Where can these young people find role models? How can they see a future where creativity leads to success? You might be surprised to find that I'm actually quite shy. But when I was younger, in year 8, I joined a performance group which was called Hip Opera, which was a collaboration between the Hippodrome and the Welsh National Opera, and we put on a performance. And I remember struggling to just stand in front of people during rehearsals. But by the time we got to a performance where there were people, I'd spent so long engaging with grandparents, with the arts director, and performing in front of my peers who were also acting, that I'd forgotten about my shyness, and I could perform and I could speak. And that was an education system for me, because up till this day, I've had opportunities to speak in front of royalty, Prince William and Kate, the Princess of Brunei, ministers across the world, in my media work, and most grueling of all, dealing with children who are 3 or 4, who ask the most challenging questions. We're at a pivotal moment in history, and it's a moment where we're relying on you to step forward and help us to process and reflect on our actions. We need to innovate to solve the world's problems, and creativity can offer all this if we just open the door and provide those opportunities. Right now, we need training for young people to access their creativity, enabling them to become the next generation of innovators and problem solvers, and we need creative leaders. There's an urgency for change, and that change requires adaptable, creative individuals who can navigate this rapidly changing world. My final words go to collaboration and interconnected thinking. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with people. In team sports, we don't win because one person is the best. We win because the team works together. We build each other up, we support each other when we're down, and we share a collective vision. We need to apply that same mindset in education. Collaboration across organisations is key. Winning the Commonwealth Games in that team, we all invested in each other. It was a combined effort of the coaches, the support staff, the athletes that made us champions. And in the same way, we must invest in the futures of our young people, because when they win, we all win, and we need someone to pay our pensions.